Imagine, for a moment, that with every casual conversation you have, you might actually be hurting your relationships without even realizing it. Sounds kind of dramatic, right? But think about it. A really good chat can seriously boost your well-being, makes you feel connected. But then on the flip side, an awkward one. That can leave us stressing for days. What went wrong? Did I say something weird? It really shows how much our daily chats, even the small ones, impact our lives. Welcome to Daily English Practice. Listen and speak. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a topic that, well, let's be honest, can feel pretty intimidating. English for small talk, especially in new language, right? That pressure to say the perfect thing, keep it going, not sound awkward. But small talk isn't just filler. It's like super vital. Daily life, communication, meeting people, networking, just grabbing coffee. It's how connections start, how they're maintained. So our mission today, we want to give you the insights, the strategies, and the actual phrases you need, not just to survive small talk in English, but to actually thrive. We've got some great sources lined up. Expert articles from Very Well Mind on conversation mistakes, practical phrases from places like the English Training Company, and the book 500 Plus Real English Phrases. And also toolkits for learners from the Learning and Work Institute, plus tips from English on YouTube. So get ready to, hopefully, transform your conversations. Okay, so let's unpack this idea first, how conversations really hit our relationships. It's not just the big talks, is it?
No, not at all. Even the most, seemingly minor exchanges carry real weight.
I was really struck by what Dr. Megan Markham said in Very Well Mind. She put it so clearly. Conversational mistakes often create a sense of disconnection and can lead to problems in relationships. That's pretty direct.
It really is. And what's interesting is that these mistakes aren't always huge, obvious blunders. Often they're subtle things, little missteps that, if they happen again and again, kind of chip away at trust and understanding. Doesn't matter if it's with a new colleague or a friend you've known for years. These errors can make people feel consistently unheard or misunderstood.
Yeah, I can see that.
And like Dr. Markham points out, over time, this can actually lead others to sort of pull back, avoid conversations with you, maybe not even consciously. So the impact personally, professionally, can be quite significant. You end up building these silent barriers, where connection should be growing.
Silent barriers. That's a really powerful way to put it. Okay, so let's shine a light on some of these common pitfalls. According to Very Well Mind, anyway. Ever been talking to someone, they ask you a question, but before you even open your mouth, they answer it? Apparently that's got a name. Boomer asking.
Yes. Boomer asking. It's a big one. And it's not just impolite. It's really quite undermining. It basically signals, even if you don't mean it to, that your thoughts are more important than theirs. It shuts down the whole idea of a genuine exchange before it even starts.
Right.
And the other person feels like, okay, they don't actually care what I think, or I'm not being taken seriously. And that really damages the trust needed for a good conversation, makes future chats feel, well, less appealing.
Oh, definitely felt that one before. And sometimes, even when we mean well, we shut things down. Like giving advice nobody asked for. Some call it the suggestion swoop. You think you're being helpful, but...
Exactly. And the impact is what's key here. Dana Kasperson, who works in conflict engagement, points this out. The person with the problem. They often just feel unheard in their actual struggle. And maybe worse, they might feel like you're kind of implying they can't figure it out themselves.
Like you don't trust their ability?
Precisely. Even if that's the last thing you intend, it sets up this subtle power dynamic instead of just being a shared space to talk.
That's a really key difference. Okay, then there's the basics, the kind of questions we ask. Are they closed-ended?
Yeah.
Like, do you like your drink? You get a yes or no, and then crickets. Conversation often just hits a wall.
Exactly. The difference between do you like your drink and say, what do you like about your drink is, well, it's huge for the conversation. One invites a simple word. The other invites thoughts, maybe even a little story. Open-ended questions are just crucial for keeping dialogue moving, getting details, getting perspective.
It shows you're actually interested, not just checking a box.
Right, not just grabbing data.
And, okay, so they answer your brilliant open-ended question. What next? Are you following up? Because not asking follow-up questions, that sends a message too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It signals a lack of real engagement. It can make the other person feel like you're just, filling time until you can talk.
Yeah, or waiting for your turn.
Exactly. The natural thing when someone shares something should be curiosity, right? If you don't follow up, it kind of implies you're not really invested. Even something simple like, oh, really, I'd love to hear more about that, or that sounds interesting, what happened then? It shows you're listening, you're genuinely interested, and that encourages them to share more, builds that connection.
Okay, so there's not asking enough questions. But then there's the flip side. Interrogation. Just question after question after question.
Yeah, bombarding someone, even if your tone is nice.
It can feel like being, what did the source say on the witness stand? It's exhausting.
It totally is. The key here is balance. It should be a back and forth, like a gentle game of tennis, maybe, not just you serving constantly.
Good analogy.
So you ask a question, they answer. Then pause. Just take a beat. Give them space to ask you something. It creates that natural rhythm, that give and take. Stops it feeling one-sided or, yeah, intrusive.
And finally, this one's huge. And it really gets to the heart of respect. Using dismissive language.
Uh-huh. Crucial.
Dr. Markham says this can very quickly erode dialogue and create a barrier between two people. Telling someone they're overreacting or just hitting them with a whatever.
Yeah, those are conversation killers, but they do more damage than just ending the chat, right?
Yeah.
They really damage the underlying trust and respect.
Definitely.
Respect is just, it's paramount. Dismissive language tells the other person their feelings or their perspective isn't valid. It says, what you think or feel doesn't matter right now. And when that happens, healthy communication becomes almost impossible. You're not just stopping a conversation, you're often damaging the connection itself right in that moment.
Okay, so we've navigated the minefield. We know the dangers. How do we start building bridges instead? The answer, it seems, always comes back to one thing. Listen openly and be respectful. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because it's not just about hearing the words.
No, it's about making the other person feel truly seen and valued. That's the foundation, isn't it, for any strong relationship?
Total.
Active listening, it's not passive. It's a full-on engagement. It means listening with curiosity, like the sources say, and really acknowledging what they've said, not just waiting for your turn to jump in. The whole goal is to help them sort of unfold their thoughts instead of you imposing yours. That builds psychological safety. It makes them feel comfortable opening up more.
So what does active listening actually look like in English? English on YouTube has some great, really practical techniques. First up, gestures.
Yeah, the nonverbals.
Right? Nodding when you agree, raising your eyebrows if something's surprising, reacting visually, shaking your head if you disagree. These aren't just like manners. They're universal signals. I'm here, I'm processing.
And beyond the visual, you've got those short verbal cues, little affirmations, simple things. I see, I know, sure, okay, I understand. Or even just a surprise, really. They show you're tracking the conversation, you're processing, but without actually interrupting their flow. They're like these little verbal nods that say, yep, I'm with you.
I thought this next one, echo questions, was really neat. So simple, but apparently very powerful.
They work well.
It's just a quick way to show interest or surprise. Someone says, I'm starting a new job next month. You go, are you?
Right.
Or, my boss is a bit tricky. Is he? You just echo the verb and pronoun. It acknowledges their point without demanding more, but it leaves the door open for them to say more if they want.
And you can build on that with paraphrasing.
Okay, explain that one.
So paraphrasing is when you repeat back what you think they said, but using your own words. It does two things. Confirms you understood, and crucially, often encourages them to add more detail. So if they're explaining something complex, you might say, okay, so if I'm getting this right, she left because of the new manager.
Ah, okay. Checks understanding.
Exactly. And it's also a kind of subtle way to check if you heard correctly without making them repeat themselves. Shows you care about accuracy, about really getting their message.
Okay, so listening is key. But how do we actually keep the conversation going? Avoid those awkward silences. English had more great tips here. First, prepare, never fail topic.
Yeah, have something in your back pocket.
Right. Make a little mental list. Things you're genuinely passionate about or know something about. Hobbies, projects, ideas, activities.
And don't worry if it seems a bit niche.
Exactly. The source said even weird or obscure interests can be fascinating. Or they might spark a really unique connection. Genuine enthusiasm is infectious, right?
It really is. Having those topics ready just takes the pressure off in those silent moments, gives you a comfortable place to start. And circling back, always aim for those open questions. Remember the WH words: who, what, where, when, why, how, which.
Gets more than yes or no.
Always think, where are you from? Not, are you from here? One asks for a story, the other just a fact.
Another simple trick? Question tags. You make a statement, then add a little tag at the end.
Like, it's a beautiful day, isn't it?
You're new here, aren't you? It works because it turns a statement into sort of an invitation. Frames it as a shared thought, not a direct question.
Makes it easier for the other person to jump in with their view without feeling put on the spot. It's softer.
And this one feels a bit counterintuitive, but maybe the most important. Embrace silence.
Ah, yes. Don't fear the pause.
Right. So many of us feel this huge pressure to fill every single gap. But sometimes, just letting there be a short pause, it can be really powerful.
It gives the other person space, maybe to collect their thoughts, maybe to share something deeper, or even just to ask you a question.
Shows patience.
Exactly. Shows you're actually listening, not just waiting to talk. It can lead to a much richer conversation, less rushed.
And the number one piece of advice from English and really all the sources, practice, practice, practice.
No way around it.
You just have to do it. Talk to the checkout person, your
Right.
neighbor, the person on the bus.
Little interactions add up.
They really do. The more you practice these things, the more natural it feels. It's like, building muscle. You can read about lifting weights all day, but you got to actually lift them.
Well said. And if starting with strangers feels too daunting, online speaking communities are fantastic for this.
Good point.
They offer a safer space to get regular practice, be around other English speakers, often with the same goal of improving. Develop those skills naturally. And, if we connect this back, having some specific, ready-to-go phrases, that can be a huge confidence booster for small talk.
It takes the pressure off, thinking on the spot.
Totally. You're not scrambling for words. You can focus more on listening, on connecting. It's like having a reliable toolkit for conversation.
Love that, a toolkit.
Yeah.
And the English Training Company, 500 plus real English phrases, they offer great examples for smoothing things over. Like, for travel and arrival, simple things. How was your trip? Or, did you find your way here? Okay. Great icebreakers.
Absolutely. And for introductions, getting those down cold really helps, whether you're introducing yourself. Hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm good. Or introducing others. This is. Or I'd like you to meet. And then the response is, nice to meet you. Or maybe a slightly more formal, the pleasure is all mine. Always good to have ready.
Offering drinks, ordering food, the politeness is key there too. Can I offer you something to drink? Or asking, what would you recommend? It's polite, but it also opens up little chat opportunities.
Definitely. And for hobbies, a super common small talk area, remember those English patterns. You play sports or instruments, play tennis, play piano. You go for activities. Go running, go swimming, go to the movies, and you do other activities. Do martial arts, do yoga, do gardening, do DIY. And you can phrase it naturally like, I'm kind of into going running, or I'm really into doing yoga.
So it's more conversational.
Yeah. And for likes, dislikes, I'm really into, or the classic British, not really my cup of tea. These just make you sound more fluent, more approachable.
And knowing how to start and end conversations gracefully, that's huge. English suggests simple openers. What have you been up to lately? How was your weekend?
Can't go wrong with the weather either. Classic safe ground.
So true. And for ending it without being awkward or abrupt, well, I better keep moving, or it was really nice chatting with you. Having those exit lines ready makes managing the flow so much easier. Okay, so phrases are great, but beyond just memorizing, having a structured way to practice can really lock these skills in.
Exactly. And that's where things like the English Conversation Practice Toolkit from the Learning and Work Institute come in really handy. They offer actual activities to make practice active, not passive, like icebreakers. They have these find someone who cards.
Oh yeah? Like what?
You get a card that says, find someone who can knit or that can speak 3 languages or can ride a bike. Yeah, you have to go around asking people. It forces lots of little low-stakes conversation.
That sounds fun, actually. And they mentioned warm-ups, too, like charades or word association.
Yeah, things to get everyone relaxed, thinking in English, speaking without feeling too pressured before you get into maybe deeper chats.
And actual speaking activities to spark conversation.
Right. Things like show and tell, bring an object, talk about it, or 2 truths, 1 lie, say 3 things about yourself. The group guesses the lie. They get you using descriptive language, asking questions, listening carefully.
Makes sense. And using topic cards, like preset topics, shopping, health, travel, combined with question words.
Yeah, who, what, when, where, why, how. It gives you a focus. Helps you practice forming relevant questions on different subjects. Takes away the what do I talk about panic.
And they even have creative templates, like a culture wheel or a conversation spinner.
Exactly. Tools to make it feel less like homework and more like, well, a game.
Right.
Exploring culture, spinning for a random topic or question. It keeps practice engaging, spontaneous, dynamic.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive today, it seems like Yes, those common conversation mistakes, they can hurt relationships, leave us feeling disconnected. But the really good news, the empowering part, is that effective small talk. It's a skill. It's totally learnable.
Absolutely.
And learning it can seriously boost your confidence, cut down that anxiety, and really strengthen your connections, personal, professional, all of it.
It really just comes down to being present, listening actively, like really listening.
And having those useful phrases and strategies ready in your toolkit.
Exactly. Building bridges, one thoughtful chat at a time. So maybe this raises an important question for you listening right now. Thinking about your day, what's your go-to never fail topic? Something you're genuinely passionate about? And how could you maybe weave that into your next conversation in English?
Or maybe think about the flip side. Which of those common mistakes we talked about today maybe resonates a little? Which one might you be making sometimes? And how could you approach that differently, maybe even starting today, the very next time you chat with someone? Even just a small shift could make a really big difference.